You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Good morning, happy Friday. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. We're streaming a little bit later this morning because I want to take you through the entire weekend. I spent a little longer this morning really getting familiar with the transits on Saturday and Sunday because that's when a lot of the action is going to be happening over the next couple days. So we're going to break it all down so you're prepared, so you can plan your weekend accordingly. And we have the date 12/12 this weekend. So we'll talk about what that means in numerology as well. Always fun when we have a date like that. Good morning, Court. Thanks for being here with me this morning. I'm hoping people can find this live stream because I had to change up the way I normally schedule it out because we're doing it a little bit later this morning. So hopefully people find us here, join the conversation. But if you're already here, I'm so grateful you're with me this morning. So how's everybody feeling, first of all, with this Pisces moon? It's been kind of a nice little resting period ahead of this weekend. We haven't had any major transits over the past couple days. Today is the same story. It's all about the Pisces moon today. And then tomorrow we have 3 separate major transits happening in the skies that will play out through the weekend. And we have the first quarter moon today as well. So a lot to talk about over the next couple days. Good morning, Danny. Thanks for being here with me. So I'm going to walk you through today, then we'll talk about Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk about 12/12, and of course we'll pull a card at the end to see what Spirit has for us for this weekend. So let's bring up our chart and just dive right in. You can see right here the moon is in Pisces right now, 14 degrees in Pisces, and you know, the Pisces moon makes us just more sentimental in general, but Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So this can really feel like this nice resting period. It can feel like a chance for healing because sometimes just being quiet and resting is the most healing thing we can do. It also, you know, Pisces is extra sentimental, extra empathetic. We are able to sense other people's emotions more easily. So just keep that in mind. If you're normally an empath, you will probably feel that even more so over the next couple of days. Try not to take anybody else's energy on. That could definitely be easy to do through Friday and into Saturday morning. Let's talk about what the first quarter moon means. So the first quarter moon, if you look up in the sky tonight, you'll see the moon halfway illuminated. It looks like that half circle. And this is the point in the moon's cycle when we start to take action on the intentions we set at the new moon. Now, this cycle is a little bit different because we had a solar eclipse on the new moon. So whatever intentions you set or experience you had was probably heightened, or you might have experienced some major shifts, some major breakthroughs around the solar eclipse. We talked about it a lot last week, but it really looked like the beginning of a huge new chapter for 2022. And now you might start to feel like taking action on whatever came through during the solar eclipse, or even on whatever you've been manifesting or setting intentions for over the past couple months. I'll say that this energy probably won't feel as strong until the moon moves into Aries tomorrow. So although we have this first quarter moon in Pisces, Aries energy brings the action and will definitely give us that urge to do something with whatever intentions we set. So if you don't feel that energy right away of like, yeah, I'm ready to go, you probably will over the weekend. It's also important to note that a first quarter moon can present some challenges or obstacles at this point in the journey. So it might not all be smooth sailing. Yay, I want to take action. I want to work towards my goals. Sometimes taking action can present itself as obstacles. And this is the point in the moon cycle when the universe, God, Spirit shows us, okay, here's what you need to do. Here's a little bump in the road to show you which direction you need to go in moving forward. So just remember that if you do run into any snags or challenges today or tomorrow, it's all there to get you going in the right direction on the right path. Obstacles are detours in the right direction, as the lovely Gabby Bernstein always says. So what's going on with this first quarter moon in Pisces today? Well, early this morning, actually really in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. Pacific time. So if you live, to the east of the West Coast, you might have experienced this when you were waking up this morning. The moon formed this sextile to Uranus. So here's what that looks like. The moon in Pisces over here, forming the supportive angle, a 60-degree angle to Uranus in Taurus, the planet of change. Uranus also can make us crave excitement or a thrill. And how this could have played out, honestly, is just some restless sleep or feeling restless when you first woke up this morning. You might have also felt this sense of anticipation for something to come, either today or last night as you were getting ready to head to sleep. This isn't a negative aspect in any sense, but if you did have some wild or thrilling dreams maybe, or even just a feeling of restlessness overnight, you can definitely blame that on the Pisces moon getting a little support from Uranus, being activated a little bit by the planet of rebellion and change. By 6 o'clock tonight, so the Pisces moon is just kind of hanging out with us today. We're more sentimental, we are a little bit more sensitive, maybe a little bit more emotional, empathetic, compassionate, all good things, and honestly just maybe a little bit more low energy throughout most of the day Friday, because that Pisces moon makes us a little bit sleepier, helps us tap into our subconscious a little bit. So by 6 p.m. tonight, the moon squares off to the sun. Very different energy. Although we still have a Pisces moon, this square to the sun is activating. It's bringing some tension between our outer self and our inner self. So it could almost feel like your emotions, your sensitivities are surfacing uncontrollably because this 90-degree angle is activating. It forces things to the surface without us trying to force them. So it might be a little bit more difficult to get along with others easily by this evening. You might just feel this kind of energy churning, almost like your internal self, this sleepy Pisces moon is like, okay, I just want to rest, I need rest. But the sun in Sagittarius, forming that 90-degree angle to it, is like, rest? Who? What? Let's keep going. More. Like, we want to be around people. We want to have fun. We're optimistic about how much energy we have right now. So there can be that internal external conflict this evening. It could just look like your body telling you, hey, like, we need a night in, we need some rest, but your friends calling up on the phone, or who calls anymore, texting you and telling you, let's go out, let's have fun, and your rational mind saying, okay, yeah, like, I know it's Friday night, I want to go out and have fun, but your body's like, do you though? Do you really want to go out? Don't you just want to stay in and cozy up in your sweats and watch a movie? So you can kind of expect that energy tonight. And then by 8 p.m., this is the strongest transit of the day for Friday, is going to come on Friday night. We see the Pisces moon form this conjunction to Neptune. Hello, Pisces energy. Neptune is the planet that rules Pisces, and then the moon is in Pisces. And the moon in Pisces is already kind of comfortable there because the moon rules our emotions, and Pisces is such an emotional sign. So when the moon forms this conjunction to Neptune, you could be even more sensitive than you've already been. And it can also feel like you're just in this thick fog emotionally, whether you're out on the town because you caved in and went out and listened to those friends who called you or texted you, or you're at home. You might just kind of feel like you're floating through space tonight. Your emotions can be a little bit confusing as well when the moon merges with Neptune, the planet of illusions, the planet of fantasies. It can be easy to get lost in a fantasy, not just mentally, but emotionally as well. We're kind of like, this is how we want to feel, but how do we really feel? So we're more prone to check out to that fantasy and check out into how we want to feel. You also just might find yourself drifting off to sleep really early this Friday night because Neptune makes us sleepy, the Pisces moon makes us sleepy. Our subconscious just really wants to take over with this transit, and it might win. It might just fully put us to sleep so we can go astral travel and expand our emotional awareness that way. So that's really the main energy of today. The moon forming this conjunction to Neptune is only amplifying the Pisces energy, this sleepy, restful, healing energy we're feeling today. If you are feeling agitated at all today, I would say moving through creativity is really helpful with this Pisces energy. Allowing yourself to do a little art, even a little doodle if you're finding yourself falling asleep at your desk at work, or just kind of checking out into a fantasy. Lean into that fantasy a little bit. Allow your imagination, to lead you. Do a little bit of art, maybe get up, dance, move your body, do something creative, and that can kind of help ground you back into your body and away from wherever you drifted off to. So that's Friday. We're going to get into the weekend in just a second. I see more people coming into the chat. Lance says, good morning. Oh, you've been sick. Oh, good. I'm glad you've been watching it later during the day, and I hope you're feeling a little bit better. Totally restless last night. Yeah. I mean, it might be because you're sick, but also the moon being activated by Uranus definitely gives us a feeling of restlessness. And I'm curious if anybody had some wild or eccentric dreams last night with the moon forming this sextile to Uranus. And I know a lot of people have just been having more vivid dreams in general because Neptune went direct last week, and we've been seeing Neptune being activated really almost every day, every other day over the past week, including today with the moon forming this conjunction to Neptune. So now let's get into the weekend. And first, we're just going to tackle Saturday because that is the day that is going to bring a lot of different energies, kind of dominate the weekend. Sunday, we get another calmer day to maybe recover from all the energy that's coming at us on a Saturday. So I'm actually going to bring up my forecast for this so you can see hour by hour how this is playing out over the weekend and what the major transits are. I think that might be easier than trying to click through the whole chart. So let's see. Here we are. This is not the right day. Here we go. Saturday. So let's start with the major transits, which all are happening on Saturday. The transit that's going to dominate this weekend is this conjunction between Venus and Pluto. So Venus, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week. It's starting to slow down because it goes retrograde at the end of this month. So from our vantage point here on Earth, it doesn't appear Venus is moving as quickly as it normally does. And that means we're going to feel the effects of this conjunction for a little bit longer than we normally would, because Venus is moving slower and Pluto already moves extremely slowly. So we'll likely start to feel this energy today, but really throughout the weekend, this will be with us. This merging between Venus, the planet of love, beauty, harmony, relationships, money, and Pluto, the planet of shadow work, of death and rebirth, of change, of transformation. Imagine all those things just blending together this weekend. So how does that play out? What does that look like? Well, this could be an intensity with our relationships, just more intensity in general. Not even necessarily in romantic relationships, but this could play out in friendships as well. Now, with that intensity, be aware of the tendency to obsess, because Pluto energy can make us more obsessive, compulsive, manipulative. So Pluto wants us to feel in control, but at the same time reminds us that we're not in control of anything at all. So avoid the tendency to try to manipulate a situation to feel in control, especially with Venus in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn. We want to have this long-term plan. We want to feel in control that way. So avoid trying to force a long-term plan. Does that make sense? Trying to manipulate the conversation, manipulate the situation in order to get the answer you want, or to force the person on the other end of that conversation to get on board with your plan and your timeline. You know, I see this kind of playing out specifically in long-term relationships or partnerships. Maybe you have this idea or plan that you want to play out in 2022. Maybe you want to have that commitment talk right now as Venus forms this conjunction to Pluto on Saturday. You feel the intense emotions, you want the answers. Just don't manipulate or force the person on the other end to be on the same level as you. And the same goes if you are on the receiving end of that energy. You might be on the other end of somebody trying to manipulate you or control or get answers out of you. So just recognize, you know, maybe that's not them being their best self. Maybe they're also being influenced by the energy, by this intense energy between Venus and Pluto here. And remember, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't have to set anything in stone. You know, great emotionally intense conversations can certainly come from this transit. So it's not negative necessarily. You know, you could have these breakthrough conversations or these really deeply, beautifully emotional moments in a relationship. And this could also look like a transformation when it comes to your relationship with money, because Venus does rule money and Pluto rules energy exchange. So, you know, this could look like a contract coming up of some sort today or through the weekend. Maybe someone's trying to get you to commit to a contract. Maybe you're contemplating a contract you want to sign or agree to. So just make sure whatever the situation is, there isn't manipulation, guilt, or jealousy going on. That's Pluto's influence. Whatever relationship, whatever money situation, whatever partnership, friendship, if there's any sort of guilt or manipulation, recognize that you don't have to play into it, because our shadow side, our deepest shadows, blend with our desires when Venus forms this conjunction with Pluto. So you can also recognize that if someone is being a little bit more manipulative, or even if you are the person being a little bit more manipulative, that might just be an insecure part of yourself or a shadow part of yourself showing up and trying to give you security. That's a moment where you can recognize that, you know, security is an illusion, and finding security within yourself is really the best route. So just recognize when your shadows are coming up, when that jealousy, when that negativity can kind of creep in, because our subconscious can take the wheel a little bit when it comes to love and money when Venus forms this conjunction to Pluto. So that's the first major transit, and that is happening at 8:30 Saturday morning. But like I said, actually I'll show you here on the chart. This is tonight Pacific time at about 11 p.m., 10 p.m. So you can see it's already, Venus and Pluto already starting to form that conjunction. And then I'll just take you through the next couple days, and you can see that Venus and Pluto stay at that 25-degree mark for several days because, like I said, Venus is slowing down, Pluto moves very, very slowly. So even through the 13th, Monday, we'll be feeling this energy. That's really the transit to pay attention to the most, I would say, throughout this weekend. Yeah, and then Tuesday, Venus starts to pull away from Pluto a little bit. But keep in mind also, side note here, this conjunction between Venus and Pluto happens. Venus passes Pluto, and then on December, I want to say the 19th, let me double check so I actually have the right date for you. December 19th is when Venus goes retrograde. So this week, Venus moves past Pluto. It's slow though. Then it starts its backspin and it will meet with Pluto again in the coming weeks. So whatever's coming up for you this weekend, Monday, might be revisited actually in a couple weeks when Venus goes retrograde and comes back to this same position in the sky. All right, let's move on to the next major transit we're dealing with on Saturday. This is a positive transit. Mercury, the messenger planet, forming this supportive angle to Jupiter by about noon Pacific time on Saturday. Mercury moves very quickly when it comes to all the major planets, so this transit won't last as long as that Venus-Pluto conjunction, which could be good, could be bad, depending on how it plays out for you. So Mercury sextile Jupiter, what does that mean? And let's get back to the right position here on our chart. We'll go back to December 11th, Saturday, and you can see Mercury still in Sagittarius, making us very outspoken, maybe a little louder than usual, kind of not letting us hold anything back when it comes to our words, our thoughts, our communication, forming this sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius, the planet of abundance, of excess. So what could this look like? Well, first of all, it could look like just an excess of communication or speaking too quickly, speaking before you really think things through, with both of these energies kind of having that Sagittarius influence. Jupiter is the planet that rules Sagittarius, and then Mercury is in Sagittarius. But moreover, this support between Jupiter, the planet of expansion, and Mercury, which is not only the messenger planet, but also rules our plans, our routines, details. It allows us to look at the big picture when it comes to our plans. So I would imagine a lot of people on Saturday are going to be booking flights, making trips for 2022, figuring out all the different ways they want to explore, expand, adventure in the coming chapter. This transit can also help us see a higher perspective. We'll crave a zoomed out understanding. We might actually even want to study philosophy, religion, different cultures under this transit, because Mercury rules how we give and receive information. It's the planet that rules learning, whereas Jupiter rules higher education. So we'll really crave that higher understanding, that zoomed out perspective. And we'll also be able to see how the small daily details that Mercury rules play into the big picture with that Jupiter influence. Negotiations today could actually have a favorable outcome as well with this planet of luck. So this is a really positive transit by midday Saturday, allowing us to think big, zoom out, make those future plans, and we'll enjoy being around other people, talking with other people. We'll be more optimistic in our communication with support between these two planets. So really, this is a great time to lean into that optimism. Like I said, book that trip, make those plans, call that friend, figure out when you're going to see them over the holidays. Whoa. Not sure what happened there, but we're back. Okay, so that is Mercury sextile Jupiter. Now let's talk about the final major transit of the day, and then I'll take you through what the moon is doing throughout the weekend. So we have Venus forming this conjunction with Pluto, bringing a level of intensity to our love lives, to our relationships. Mercury forming this sextile to Jupiter, making us want to learn about these higher perspectives and make long-term plans, make adventurous plans for the future. Then by late Saturday night, so Sunday morning in some places, if you live on the East Coast or even farther east than that, the sun forms a square to Neptune. So here's what that looks like. The sun forming a 90-degree angle to the planet of dreams, the planet of illusions. See that here. Okay, so the sun is still in Sagittarius, 20 degrees. We still have about another week and a half, 2 weeks of Sagittarius season. And Neptune in Pisces is 3 signs away. So that's where that 90-degree angle comes from. And how this will likely play out is potentially a confusion about your sense of self. Your confidence could get a little cloudy under this transit because a square is that tense energy. So the sun, our confidence, especially the Sagittarius sun, very confident energy, very outspoken, outgoing energy, conflicts with Neptune, the planet that rules our subconscious, our dreams. So this tense angle could make us a little bit discouraged or confused. It can also just lower our energy level by Saturday night. We're still dealing with that Neptune influence with the Pisces moon as well. Neptune has really been like dominating the astrological story over the past week, and this square between the sun and Neptune gives us another dose of that. This could also just bring some weird dreams yet again because it's happening overnight for so many of us. But if you find yourself getting all of a sudden really tired Saturday night, probably because Neptune is squaring off to the sun, basically being like, hey, we need to sleep now. The sun in Sagittarius is like, keep the party going. Like, we're confident, we're feeling great. And then Neptune all of a sudden is like, hey, I'm over here and you need sleep and you need to calm down and rest. So in the same sense, this transit can make it a little bit more difficult to assert ourselves because we're like confused about our sense of self. Are we tired or are we ready to keep partying? It can also make us a little bit more empathetic, which is nice, especially if you're dealing with any sort of difficult situations or even self-confidence issues. Like, have that empathy for yourself too. Just don't be discouraged between that fantasy side, like your ideals ruled by Neptune, what you want to happen, what you think would be the best possible outcome, and the reality of the situation. So, for example, don't be discouraged if all of a sudden you get tired. Don't be discouraged if you had this idea of how your Saturday night was going to go and the reality of the situation isn't quite as exciting or fun or really just what you had imagined. That could definitely come up for you on Saturday night or even into Sunday as well. So this kind of creates a conflict between our fantasy and reality, our sense of self, and our sense of who we should be. Just remember, you're right on track. Give yourself some grace. All right, now let's go through the moon's transits this weekend. I'm looking at all of your comments. When is the best time for a Gemini to get stoned and play guitar, maybe write? Very specific question, but I'm here for it. I love it. I would say anytime we're seeing Neptune activations would be a great time to play guitar. So actually, Friday night and Saturday night, we're seeing Friday night tonight, the moon forming this conjunction to Neptune. Great time to lean into that artistic side, maybe check out into your own little fantasy, getting stoned. And then also Saturday night when the sun squares off to Neptune, even though it's a more intense transit, or maybe intense isn't the right word, but conflicting transit, confusing transit, leaning into that Neptune energy, that artist energy will be really helpful to maybe clear up that confusion or just help you move through that transit with more ease. But really, with the moon in Pisces, it's always a nice time to be artistic, to check out into that fantasy. So really, Friday and Saturday are your days, Danny, to just let loose, drift off to wherever you want to drift off to. Find some inspiration through your imagination, through playing music. I would say these are actually great days to do that. All right, let's talk about the moon. So, first on Saturday, the moon is still hanging out in Pisces until Saturday afternoon. So we're still in that restful energy, that healing energy, maybe a little bit sleepier energy. We talked a lot about that conjunction between Venus and Pluto that we'll be feeling all weekend. Well, the moon forms a sextile to Venus and Pluto early Saturday morning. So we will feel the energy of that conjunction most strongly on Saturday morning, because that's when Venus and Pluto, that conjunction is exact, and also when the moon is activating these two planets. And this will essentially just make us more sensitive to any changes or intensity we are experiencing in relationships or when it comes to our finances, just adding a level of intensity. But at the same time, we can also be more empathetic and sentimental because the moon is in Pisces. So if we are experiencing intense moments or any form of manipulation, control tactics like we just talked about, it'll be easier to relate to other people and understand how they're feeling under this transit. We already crave that deep connection when Venus and Pluto meet up, but when the Pisces moon gets thrown into the mix, we need it. We are nurtured by that connection with other people, and this could bring a profound emotional experience on Saturday morning. If you allow it, we can just be more sentimental, more in our feels with the moon in Pisces, and then activating this Venus-Pluto conjunction. This can almost help fuel whatever change is happening in relationships and partnerships, in money, because we'll be emotionally in tuned to whatever that transformation is, and just more sensitive in general to the Venus conjunction with Pluto. By 7 a.m. So, the moon's been really sleepy the past couple days. Saturday, the Pisces moon is making all these connections, then moving into Aries. And we're also dealing with all these major planetary connections as well. So Saturday is going to feel like a lot of energy compared to the past couple days, and even compared to Sunday. So 5 a.m. is when the moon connects to Venus and Pluto. Then by 7 a.m. Pacific time, the moon squares off to Mercury, the messenger planet, which could force some much needed communication, especially after we're dealing with the moon connecting to Venus and Pluto, bringing up those intense emotions. The moon forming a square to Mercury forces us to talk about whatever we're feeling, forces us to talk about those intense emotions that we've been experiencing. And this could spark some much needed communication, as I mentioned, but it could also make you feel this urge or this intense need to say how you're feeling, to express your emotions. But it can help us deliver that message with empathy, because the moon is in Pisces, this sweet, empathetic Pisces energy. So if something's been weighing on you emotionally, or you're experiencing this intensity between Venus and Pluto, and you're kind of delving into your own shadows, figuring out where your own motivations are coming from, early Saturday morning is a time where it's beneficial to express whatever you're feeling. Now, that might not come out as smoothly as you want it to, or the conversation might not go exactly how you want it to, but even if the tension increases because of this square between the moon and Mercury, speaking your truth can really bring some great healing during this transit, or even some profound awareness with this conjunction between Venus and Pluto and the moon and Mercury coming into the mix all around the same time. This looks like a breakthrough, a profound awareness, even a leveling up in current love, current relationships, current financial situations, but it's all about being willing to face those shadows and communicate how you're feeling. And then by 10 a.m., the moon forms a harmonious angle to Mars. So first, we feel the intensity between Venus and Pluto. Then when the moon connects with Mercury, we're speaking how we're feeling. By 10 a.m., we are moving those thoughts into action. The moon harmonizing with the planet of action, Mars, gives us that burst of energy to carry us through Saturday. So this could just look like, okay, we dealt with all that heaviness, or we're still dealing with all that heaviness, but now it's time to just get moving. We'll be more confident, more excited when the moon harmonizes with Mars, and we can just really start to gain that momentum, start projects, even if everything isn't sorted out from the intensity between Venus and Pluto. Even if we're still feeling it, taking action, moving our bodies will feel really nice when the moon harmonizes with Mars. And this is the last connection the Pisces moon makes before the moon moves into Aries. So we'll kind of get a little taste of that Aries energy by Saturday morning, or the end of Saturday morning, before the moon officially moves into the sign of the Ram, Aries. So, and Aries energy is similar to Mars energy because Aries is ruled by Mars. So it's almost like this little preview of what's to come when the moon moves into Aries. Let's jump ahead a few hours. Actually, we'll go back a few hours and show you when the moon does move into Aries. So here it is. The moon is in Aries now. You can already see what's coming on Sunday. It's getting really close to Chiron, the wounded healer, so a conjunction is coming. So the moon moves into Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, by about 2 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. This is bringing a shift in energy. We're going from this restful, calm, sentimental energy, more internal, more reflective, more sleepy and calm, to the moon in Aries, like, let's go, let's take action. We almost feel like we have this new lease on life. We have this new energy. We'll want to start projects, get things going. We'll want to jump headfirst into whatever is in front of us. This could also make us feel kind of the urge to get the party started by Saturday afternoon. We're like, okay, we dealt with all the intensity already today. Like, we had the healing conversations. Now it's time to just let loose and have fun and, you know, move our bodies. That's what Aries energy really wants us to do, is move our bodies. So try not to act without thinking first. Really keep intention in the back of your mind, because we tend to be more spontaneous and energized under an Aries moon. And if you are feeling kind of that little rumble, like you need to be doing something, any sort of physical movement can help with our emotions when the moon is in Aries, and that's going to be through Sunday and into Monday that the moon stays in Aries. And this is a waxing moon coming out of the first quarter moon, so we're starting to take action when it comes to the moon phase, and then that Aries energy adds a dose of motivation into it. By Saturday afternoon into Sunday, we're really going to start to feel like, okay, like, where are we going? How are we getting there? Let's move. Like, even if we don't know the exact destination, we're ready to start the journey when the moon is in Aries. And by 2 p.m. on Saturday, the moon forms this supportive angle to the north node, the only connection the moon makes once it enters Aries on Saturday. What does that mean for us? Well, the North Node represents our karmic purpose. The North Node right now is at 0 degrees in Gemini. So right when the moon moves into Aries, it connects with the North Node as well as the South Node. But really the connection here will be felt more with the North Node because of the angle that the moon is making. So support from the North Node looks like a glimpse of the direction we are heading. Like I said, we want to get started. We want to start moving when the moon moves into Aries. And whatever step we take, whatever action we take, will actually support our greatest purpose. You know, there are lots of sayings about sometimes it's just starting. All you have to do is start to send you on the right path. So taking one small action, one little action, can actually support the entire journey, even if you don't know where the destination is today. And any action you take will support your highest purpose when the moon forms this sextile to the North Node early Saturday afternoon. The key, again, I just said this, but the key is to be intentional when the moon is in Aries. Don't just act without thinking. Make sure your actions are backed by some sort of values or intention, honestly, because you know, Aries energy can make us a little bit impulsive, reactive, just like do something, but just make sure whatever you're doing is actually supporting your highest self and who you want to become, even if you don't know where you're going just yet. But also, if this all sounds so big and so like even esoteric, like what direction am I heading in life? On a basic level, when the moon forms this sextile to the north node, just moving your body, even that small action, doing a little exercise, moving your body can support your highest self as well. Because, you know, this vessel, this physical vessel is getting you through this life. So even if you don't know what your purpose is or where you're going, moving your body moves the needle in the right direction. Okay, now let's talk about Sunday, 12/12. We'll do a brief breakdown of the numerology of 12/12, and then we will pull a card. And my goal with this, I think I'm going to start doing this on Fridays, so you can come back to it throughout the weekend or watch it whenever you're free in the weekend and really see how the energy is playing out for you on Saturdays and Sundays. So we have another fairly quiet day on Sunday. It's like Thursday and Friday, we're kind of sleepy with the moon in Pisces, no major planetary connections. Saturday, everything happens. It's all happening on Saturday. And then on Sunday, things quiet down a bit again. And that is welcome. We'll still be feeling the energy of that Venus-Pluto conjunction, as well as the energy between the sun and Neptune, because that happens late Saturday night. But as far as the moon goes, just two different connections the Aries moon is making on Sunday. First, to Chiron, as we just talked about. That's happening at 6 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday. So here's what that looks like as the moon is creeping closer to Chiron. You can see it eventually meets up with the wounded healer in the sky. Right around, like I said, 8 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 a.m. on Sunday. So we talk a lot about Chiron, the wounded healer. This icy outer body in the solar system represents our deepest pains, our deepest wounds in this lifetime, and it's represented by a little key on the chart because it also is the key to healing our greatest pains. And once we can unlock our own healing, we can help other people with theirs as well. So when the Aries moon meets up with Chiron, what does that look like for us? Well, these two energies merge, and it could feel like past pain, our deepest wounds, are playing out in the present moment. It could also feel like we need to do something about this pain. We don't want to feel it. It's too uncomfortable. We have to do something. Headstrong Aries energy makes us feel like we have to take action on our feelings. But honestly, that could cause more drama than it's really worth if you just jump headfirst into like, I need to do something to avoid this pain. So as uncomfortable as it feels to sit still with the moon in Aries, I would suggest to just take this moment on Sunday morning, maybe first thing when you wake up on Sunday morning, to reflect on how far you've come, on how much you've already healed yourself, on how much your journey has already helped others along their healing journey. Even if you aren't a healer or a therapist or somebody who helps other people in your daily life, just going through your own healing journey, is healing generational trauma, your lineages from generations upon generations back. And also, you're showing up as a better version of yourself in your daily life, which is an example to the people around you. And your energy influences the people around you. So as much as you might feel like, I just want to hit the gym, I just want to go on a run, I just want to avoid this pain, sometimes sitting with it can help reflect on it. And there's nothing wrong with movement as a form of moving that energy through you as well. So, you know, if you are a runner or somebody who wants to exercise to kind of move that energy through you, maybe instead of listening to music like you normally do or listening to a podcast, doing that in silence and being with your thoughts as you're moving energy through you could be beneficial. But really give yourself credit for how far you've come as the moon meets up with Chiron. And if past pain is coming up, you don't have to take action on it right now. It's in the past for a reason. Even though it feels like it's playing out in the present moment, you've probably already dealt with these things. And if you feel like you haven't already healed what's coming up, well, this is an opportunity, right? We have the first quarter moon playing out, asking us to take action. So if there are things that are coming up that you haven't already dealt with, this is your chance to start taking action, taking steps in the right direction. Again, you don't have to know exactly how to get there or where the end destination is, but just taking a few small steps toward your healing can have a great impact. And then by 7 a.m. So right after that conjunction with Chiron, really right around the same time, because Saturn and Chiron, remember, we've been talking about this for a couple weeks, have been in this loose sextile with each other since the middle of November. So over the past month, we've really been learning a lot of lessons about our healing, doing a lot of reflecting on our healing, looking back to the past and our own past, how that caused our wounds, how we can heal from those wounds. Saturn is kind of that teacher energy that makes us see lessons even if we don't necessarily want to see them. So the moon, we feel that past pain, we get this conjunction between the moon and Chiron, and then shortly after, the moon forms this sextile to Saturn, which is nice. It allows us to see the lessons very easily from whatever we just felt, allows us to kind of take that detached approach a little bit and look through a practical lens of, okay, those emotions were coming up for me. I got really heated in that moment, or I got really triggered in that moment. What is that teaching me? What is that showing me? How does that play out into my healing journey and everything I've already learned? This can really help us slow down, take account of our responsibilities, our loyalties, our duties, and our emotions are supported by our devotion to our family, to our loved ones. So, when the moon forms this supportive angle to Saturn, it can help us take that practical approach, take the lessons from the pain, and also remember why we're here. Remember that we have other people relying on us. Remember that we can be teachers for other people as well, and that it's our job to show up as the best version of ourselves for the people we love the most. So, those are all the energies playing out through the weekend. I know it's a lot to get through, but once this stream is over, I'll add some markers for each day on the timeline. So if you want to go back and watch Saturday on Saturday, you can do that. Sunday on Sunday, you can do that. It just makes it a little bit easier to navigate the video, especially a video that's going to be fairly long. So let's do a little, we have to talk about the numerology of 1212. I almost forgot. So 1212, it's so funny because we started The Spiritual Journalist on 11/11. So it's been almost a month today since we officially started The Spiritual Journalist, and over a month since we started this daily transit live stream. I love repeating numbers because it's always just fun to see the meaning of 12. Maybe you see 1212 a lot as an angel number, so it might be of significance to you. And if that's the case, definitely pay attention to what's coming up for you on 1212. Same thing goes with any angel number. If you see like 222 all the time, well, February 22nd is probably going to be a really big day for you. I think it's going to be a big day for all of us because it's such a crazy repeating number, 222, 2022. I digress. 1212. Do you see it a lot? Is it a big day for you? In my family, it's actually a very important day because it's my mom's birthday. She was born on 1212. So we always have something to celebrate. And what's really cool, actually, is I've had a ton of major life events happen on 12/12 just by coincidence. The date I was legally adopted was on 12/12. My mom was born on 12/12, and so random, but actually the day we got our puppy, Willow, was 12/12/2019. So it always happens that something big is occurring on 12/12 in my life, which makes it extra fun. 12 itself isn't a super powerful number in numerology because it's not a repeating number. But we can look at the energies between the number 1 and the number 2. So the number 1, as we talked about on 11/11, signifies a fresh start, a new beginning. It also emphasizes ourself, right? The number 1, just us and us alone. Whereas the number 2 emphasizes connection with other people. It emphasizes relationships, obviously. It makes sense. So 12/12 brings a merging of those two things. And I think it's very interesting that this is playing out when we have a conjunction between Venus and Pluto, bringing changes and transformation when it comes to love and relationships. So you could see a major shift on 12/12 or around 12/12 because of this conjunction between Venus and Pluto. But the number 12, like I said, combines the number 1, self, and the number 2, others. And 1 plus 2, because in numerology you always add up the single digits, and whatever the sum of the single digits is the number that you base the day off of. So the number 12, of course, 1 plus 2 adds up to the number 3. What does the number 3 mean in numerology? I know we're diving deep into numerology right now. And for the record, I am not a numerologist. I'm not an expert on it. But anytime there's a fun date, I like to look into what the meaning behind the number is. So 1 is independence, individuality, new beginnings. 2 is all about others. So sensitivity, patience, being able to work with other people. The number 3, let's see. Of course, it's not showing up right now. But the number 3 in numerology, and also if you are well-versed in numerology, pay attention to if this is your life path number or anything like that. So the number 3, which is the sum of the number 12, it is very upbeat and engaging. Very much the Aries energy of the Aries moon on Sundays. So you kind of have this zest for life under a number 3. And 12/12 is 2 3s. You know, it's just bringing together a lot of different energies because it's not a master number like 11 or 22 or 33. You know, 12/12 is just a repeating number, but anytime there's 2 of something in numerology, it magnifies it. So we essentially have these 2 3s next to each other, magnifying this zest for life, our want to have enjoyable experiences. It can also help us communicate with other people. Think of the 3rd house in astrology. So really, I see 12/12 as being a great day for relationships, for our energy. We're kind of starting to come away from that conjunction between Venus and Pluto, maybe allowing us to reflect on whatever intense emotions came up or profound breakthroughs came up in our love and our relationships, even with money. The number 3, aka 12, is the communicator. So all about expressing ourselves, all about being around other people, enjoying the company of other people with that merging between 1, the self, 2, others. And 3 energy also is a very charming energy. You have an easy time attracting other people. So I know we talked a lot about transformation when it comes to love and relationships, but for those of you who might be single, I would say that this weekend could be a really big weekend for you. You might meet someone that you have a karmic connection with because of this conjunction between Venus and Pluto. The 12/12 energy makes you a little bit more charismatic and charming. So Sunday, hey, maybe you're out for brunch and you see a cutie and you have an instant connection. Who knows? I don't know. But the possibilities are definitely there this weekend. We have a ton of energy in the mix, you know. A lot of it's really positive energy, other than what's going on with Neptune, kind of making us a little bit sleepy. But on the positive side, Neptune can also heighten our intuition. So if you have like a really strong gut feeling at all this weekend, I would say follow it. The moon is in Pisces until Saturday afternoon, which really makes us connected to our intuition. And then when the moon moves into Aries, we're like, let's go, let's do it. We're more assertive, we're more direct. And all of the energy that's playing out is pretty supportive of some karmic connections or profound experiences, I will say. So yeah, 12/12 should be interesting. I'm curious if anybody else has a special meaning for 12/12, if you see it all the time when you look at your phone, anything like that, you see it on the clock all the time. It's, you know, it's also marking, we're heading out of Sagittarius season. And so this is kind of this big moment of this Sagittarius season. We have all these energies, all these planets forming angles to one another on Saturday, playing out into Sunday. Then we have 12/12, this numerological fun day. It should be a fun weekend, I would imagine. Or at least an important weekend in some sort. I just read in one article, 1212 is a reminder that we're in the final stretch of a difficult year, because 12, I will also mention, in numerology, represents the end. 9, when we're talking about single digits, is the ending, but 12 is the last month of the year. It's the last hour of the day. So this 1212 could mark this culmination point, right? Where you're celebrating everything you've accomplished so far this year, or all of the inner work you've done this year is finally coming to fruition with this conjunction between Venus and Pluto, allowing you to realize all of that shadow work and how it's playing out in your relationships with other people or in your relationship to your finances. All right, let's do an overview, then we'll pull a card, because this is going on almost an hour at this point. But what can I say? I love talking about astrology. So, the Pisces moon really dominates the story still on Friday, inviting us to rest and reflect before Saturday's energy really picks up. We have 3 major transits playing out over the weekend. The first being a conjunction between Venus, the planet of love and money, and Pluto, the planet of shadows and death and rebirth. So this could bring some intensity into your relationships. It could also bring a profound breakthrough or realization when it comes to love or money. At the same time, we have Mercury forming a sextile to Jupiter, the planet of abundance. So this could look like an excess in communication. You might be speaking a little bit more than you intended to, but at the same time, we'll want to make long-term plans, zoom out when it comes to all the little details we've been working on. We can see the bigger picture. We'll enjoy studying things like philosophy and religion on Saturday. And the last major transit that plays out on the 11th is late Saturday night, a square between the Sun and Neptune. This can just make us sleepy, or it can also cloud our confidence a little bit and make us doubt ourselves a little bit. Don't be discouraged if it feels like there is a gap or a tension between fantasy and reality on Sunday night or Saturday night into Sunday morning. The moon stays in Pisces until Saturday afternoon when it moves into Aries. We're seeing the first quarter moon this weekend. And once the moon moves into Aries, we'll really feel like we want to start taking action on whatever intentions we set either during the solar eclipse or earlier this year. This is really an activating energy, making us want to move and start whatever it is we're working towards. So even if you don't know the end destination, taking those small movements, even just moving your body, can help you start heading in the right direction, regardless of where the journey ends. All right, that's a look at this weekend's energy. Now let's pull a card. What the universe has to say for us. So I decided, I knew this was going to be a long video today, so of course I pulled out my deck with the longest descriptions, but it's also my very favorite deck because it's just so good. It's the Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild, and it's the first deck I ever got. Always brings me great insights. So as I'm shuffling this, let me know if you have any thoughts about 1212 in the chat or the energy to come this weekend. Julian says, happy early birthday, Cindy. I hope she's watching and sees that. But yeah, my mom is Cindy. Her birthday's on Sunday. Oh, are you aware of how obsessed Nikola Tesla was with the numbers 369? Really interesting. I'm not aware of that, but I am not super well versed on all of Tesla's discoveries and the science behind a lot of his work, but I know a lot of the things he discovered were really amazing and profound. And I think there's a lot of great documentaries about Tesla that I really need to watch, because I know he discovered a different way to produce electricity or supply electricity that would have made it like free for everybody. And there's lots of conspiracy theories about the government shutting down his operations, and there's also a lot of theories that he was able to communicate with extraterrestrials or aliens or whoever's out in the universe, and that the government kind of shut that down. All right, this is the card that just flew out of here. Soul Child, number 14. Let's hear what the guidebook says. But if number 14 is an important number for you, well, this is your card, Soul Child. As we're talking about the universe, and I would just like to point out, and aliens, just like to point out there is a little kid on this card with his teddy bear at his feet, like lifting his hands up to the sky, the sun, but it almost looks like he's ready to be beamed up into a UFO. That's how I'm interpreting this right now. We'll see what the guidebook says. Here we go. Soul Child, number 14. Rebirth is upon you, beautiful child of the universe. You have prepared for new life, and it is starting right now. The divine moment of rebirth, which occurs after a period of struggle, of intense inner work and physical transformation, has arrived. Enjoy getting to know this new self. It is a new day, a new beginning, a new you. Like an adventurer enjoying the discovery of a brand new world, take your time to explore the increase of your light, power, and love. You've undergone the death of the old order. Nothing is as it was, nor will it be so again. You've had to learn detachment, to release and let go over and over again. In so many ways, you've experienced inner death as you have bravely surrendered that which no longer serves your growth in this lifetime, even if you once loved it dearly or couldn't imagine life without it. Deep inside, through that process, your soul has been gathering energy. It's been drawing it away from the old forms of your life and relationships, from your old beliefs about health, finances, work, and from what used to hold meaning to you. It's done so in order to feed the new soul child being carried within your body. This new you is filled with divine light, love, and power. Your inner soul child, this newly integrated self, is preparing for birth now. From that which is no longer something new is now being born. You are ready for the next cycle or phase of your life. Even if, like a newborn colt learning to stand steady on shaky legs, you are not sure of your strength, be reassured. The new self you are experiencing will grow strong and powerful soon enough. Let confidence in your new self emerge. Reflect upon how different you are now to a year or even a month ago. Be curious about who you are now. Do not expect the same reactions or experiences you encountered in your past. It is a time of celebration and acknowledgement that a new day, a new you has begun a journey in the physical world. You shall enjoy the divine harvest of all of your growth and effort. This card can also indicate that a child around you, perhaps one about whom you've been thinking deeply, is particularly gifted or spiritually oriented. This child may have an important mission this lifetime and need your loving support and spiritual encouragement to thrive into that mission according to his or her own divine timing. This card may also be a sign that a new business idea, professional or personal relationship or lifestyle choice is going to support the growth of your spirit in a positive and encouraging way. If this is the case, the new idea or connection will lead to the birth of creative new programs, ideas, and structures in your life. On the other hand, if something has been flagging in energy or success, but you're not yet inclined to give it up, this oracle comes as confirmation and encouragement. Rebirth is going to happen. Do not give up. Sometimes it is darkest before the dawn. The card is always on point, never lies, and so perfect. I mean, everything in that description basically was what we talked about with all the transits happening this weekend. And I think, this powerful opportunity for rebirth comes when Venus forms this conjunction to Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth. We can see a rebirth of our relationships, of our relationship to love, our relationship to money, our relationship to our desires. And I think it's also perfect that the moon is moving at the same day, same time, from the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces, to the first sign of the zodiac, Aries, giving us this new lease on life. So not only are our major planets really pushing us to transform and allowing us to look to the future, but the moon is also doing the same thing. It's given us this time to rest, and now when the moon moves into Aries on Saturday, it's pushing us to start taking action, even messy action, towards the next version of ourself, towards that future self we've been thinking about and working towards all year. Now is your time on 12/12 when you can really start to step into that next version of yourself. So lean into your own transformation, lean into your own rebirth. If you're watching this right now, this card is for you, and it's telling you that you're ready to be reborn. You're ready to step into that next version of yourself. Yeah, that was a good card. This deck is so good. Like I said, it's called Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. First deck I ever bought, and the descriptions are always like mind-blowingly accurate. So I don't know if you can get it on Amazon. I got it in a little metaphysical shop. I'm sure Alana Fairchild sells it somewhere online, but it's one of my favorites. So that's the whole weekend laid out for you. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with Saturday being the most intense day. A lot is going on in the planets on Saturday. I hope that it brings you some fun. I hope it brings you some really profound insights about your own transformation, your own rebirth. And I hope that you can navigate the energy with ease and flow with it now that you've made it through this video and aligned with it already. You've sent light ahead for your future self. You're already aligned with what's to come, which means that hopefully you can get through it more comfortably. All right, that's going to do it for today's transits, for our weekend look ahead. As I mentioned, I think I'm going to start doing this every Friday, giving you a preview of the weekend ahead, depending on what that energy looks like for the weekend ahead. And I will see you right back here next week. We have 2 awesome interviews coming up next week for the spiritual journalist, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, about travel, which is so perfect for Sagittarius season, and also about beauty from the inside out. That's all I'm going to say about our second interview, because I'm really excited for her to share her story, and yeah, they're going to be great. And of course, we'll be back every weekday morning with today's transits as well, probably between 8 and 8:30 as we've been doing this past week. I think more people are able to tune in during those times. So I hope you have the most beautiful weekend. I hope it comes with some rebirth of love, of your own worth, of your own value, and your love for yourself as well. All right, I will see you next week, but until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.